But if you really believed that he's going to do it, would you honestly be praying like that? We're praying like that thinking that Krishna will like me for praying like this. But of course he's not going to actually do it. Sometimes we read the prayers of the acharyas, and we read it with great enthusiasm. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, my mind, my manaso, deho, geho, jo kichu more. My body, my mind, my home, my words, my family, my wealth, my everything, I surrender to you, Krishna. Take it all. If you want to kill me or protect me, I don't have any preference. Just do what you like with me. Hare Krishna. Now we sing these prayers. When we sing these prayers, we're praying. We're stating our case before the Lord. Narottam Das Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, these great acharyas, they're tricking us. We sing these prayers right before the deity. My Lord, take away everything, I'm yours. And we're thinking, we're just repeating their prayers, but it's coming from our mouths. They're very dangerous prayers, these songs. But really, think about it, honestly. When you stand before the Lord with folded hands and pray, let me follow in the footsteps of the gopis. I'm willing to abandon everything for you, my Lord. Yasyaham anugrinami harisheta dhanam shanai. My Lord, when you show special mercy, you may take away everything, so I have nothing but you left in my life, my friends, my family, my wealth, my health. Everything's gone. All I have is you, my Lord. That's when you show your mercy. And yet we're praying for mercy. Haribol. One of several things is happening. Either we are just coasting along with what we're supposed to be doing with our prayers, or we're praying, but we don't really believe he's going to do it. Hare Krishna. But Uddhav, he believed. Not only believed, he knew with all certainty. Whatever he prayed, Krishna was going to fulfill. And what was his prayer? Let me give up my post as a great prince in Dwarka, as your constant associate, sitting with you, joking with you, playing with you, speaking philosophy with you, advising you in political affairs. In so many ways, they were best of friends. I'm willing to leave all that behind, Krishna. Just let me be a little plant growing from the ground of Brajbhumi. And even though you're not even here, the gopis may, or even if the gopis may not, the servants of the gopis, they may step on my head with their feet. Because obviously, they're so humble. If I ask for the dust of their feet as the Prince of Dwarka, they will be totally ashamed. They'll run away. I don't want to embarrass them. That would be worse than death to embarrass them. So let me be just in the disguise of a little creeper so that they'll step on my head. And when I get the dust of their feet, then some of their love will come into my heart. That is my prayer. And Krishna fulfilled his prayer. Uddhava became a creeper in the ground of Vrindavan, where he's still there. He never wants to leave that position. That is a Vaishnava. Such absorption. When Uddhava came back to Dwarka, he explained to Krishna the Uddhava Sandesh by Rupa Goswami, that I know why you sent me there, out of your mercy to me. I was supposed to give a message to pacify them, but really the message was to me, to see the quality of their love. Why don't you go back, Krishna? How they're crying in separation. Krishna didn't go back. And then years later, in Dwarka, Balaram, Nityananda Prabhu, was in the constant association of Krishna, but felt compassion for the residents of Vrindavan. And he decided to go to Vrindavan with the blessings and the permission of Krishna. Our acharyas explain that Krishna wanted to go to Vrindavan to see his devotees. But why didn't he go? Why he sent Balaram instead? The reason? Because his loving devotees and family members of the Yadu dynasty, they knew the extent of the love of the residents of Vrindavan, and especially the gopis. And they knew that Krishna, his nature is he becomes subordinate to the love of his devotees. If Krishna were to go back to Vrindavan, the love of the Brijabasis would conquer his heart. They would never allow him to leave again, and he would never be able to leave again. And it was a reality. So therefore, with their love, they kept him in Dwarka. Because Krishna followed etiquette very nicely. He had his father and mother, Vasudeva, Devaki, and there was Ugrasena, who was a king. And Krishna would take blessings from them as well. He was in his Dwarka Leela. Vrindavan Leela, he's very mischievous. He would take blessings but then do opposite things. That is Braj Leela. But in Dwarka Leela, Krishna was very much exemplary. He would never get the blessings of the residents of the Yadu dynasty to go to Vrindavan, because they loved him. They would never survive never seeing him again. So therefore Krishna could not go, because the Yadus could not live without him, and the Brijabasis could not live without him, and Balaram could not live without him, but he left. Hare Krishna. He went to Vrindavan to show compassion to the Brijabasis. Just like Lord Nityananda Prabhu, he was willing to leave the company of Lord Chaitanya, the greatest sacrifice we can never imagine, to give you and me Krishna, to give you and me the holy name of Krishna, and a ticket back home, back to Godhead, and the only price of that ticket is the faith to receive it. That's all. Thakur Bhakti Vinod sings in that beautiful song, the mercy of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. He's giving the highest of all treasures, elevation to Goloka Vrindavan. And what is the price? Krishna tells in Gita, Sarva dharman purityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papevyo moksha ishamimashacha. Abandon all varieties of religion, just surrender to me. But Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda Prabhu took that verse and made it so practical and simple for all of us. We're reading in today's beautiful song. You can carry on your same old activities. Just give up improper behavior. It's not so difficult. Just give up improper behavior. Carry on your worldly duties in relation to Krishna. And how do we do that? By chanting the holy name.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Just have faith in these words and accept them. And Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya, their causeless mercy will bring you back to Goloka Vrindavan. Parama Karuna, Pahundu Vijana Nitai Gora Chandra. Supremely merciful, these two brothers. Lord Balaramji, for the pleasure of the Brijabasis, he left Dwarka. He was intoxicated with his enthusiasm to give them pleasure. On his chariot, he arrived in Vrindavan, and there he was greeted first by Yashoda and Nanda, those who loved him with parental affection. And he bowed down to them. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the all-powerful Balaram, who is the maintainer, sustainer, and supporter of all universal creation. He's bowing down to his devotees. And they embrace him because they see him. Although now he's a great warrior and prince of the Yadu dynasty, they don't see him like that. They still see him as a little cowherd boy. They put him on their laps and they embrace him and kiss him and soak him with their tears. And he reciprocates exactly according to their love, just like a little cowherd boy. Yegatamam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. As you approach the Lord reciprocates accordingly. And then the other older gopas and gopis, they were offering their blessings to him. After embracing him and weeping, they were blessing him, because this is the way a parent or an elder shows their love to a child, traditionally. I don't know what you people do these days, but this is the natural outpour of an expression of a parent to a child, is to offer blessings. Yes, I have seen. Even if your son is a sannyasi, still you're going to, when you see them, you're just going to want to bless them. And Balaramji was lovingly receiving their blessings by offering them all respect. And to those who were his equals, he was embracing them with such equal affection. The cowherd boys, they played together, they jumped with one another, they wrestled with each other. They had the same relationship. Balaramji embraced them just like he would embrace them in the cowherd pastures of Vrindavan so many years before. And to others, he would shake their hands. And others who were junior to him, they would bow down and touch his feet, and he would give them blessings. In this way, Balaramji taught the principle of etiquette. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, the observance of Vaishnava etiquette is the ornament that makes a devotee beautiful in the eyes of Krishna. How Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us by his example. the proper observance of etiquette. According to a particular person's position, and according to our particular relationship with that person, we observe etiquette. To all seniors, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered, he treated them like a respectful servant would treat a master. To his guru's godbrothers, he always honored them as superior to himself. To his friends, he would embrace, he would dance, he would reveal his heart and hear their hearts. And to those who were junior, he accepted obeisances. So Balaramji was teaching perfectly the culture of bhakti, to observe proper etiquette. This culture is so very, very essential and important for the proper growth of devotion within the heart. Because bhakti is like a seed, a little tiny seed that's planted by the grace of Guru within our heart. And we're watering it by hearing about the Lord, by chanting about the Lord. And we're trying to protect it from so many weeds by following the 4 regulative principles. But also, the soil must be fertile for the seed to grow properly. From a little creeper stage, it's supposed to grow into a kalpa vriksha tree. Part of that fertilization of the soil is our humble service attitude, which is inseparable from the observance of proper etiquette. Etiquette is all about amanina manadena. It's really all about respecting others and serving others. In all circumstances, I am servant of the servant of the servant. I serve some by bowing down. I serve some by embracing and being a friend. I serve others by giving blessings, but we're always serving. Unfortunately, because many people come from a background of rebellion, independence, so-called freedom of speech, and all of that stuff. We're not against freedom of speech, but it should be done with etiquette. If we don't have etiquette, our devotional creeper is really going to have to struggle to grow at all. Culture is so important for our spiritual growth, especially in Western countries. Sometimes devotees, yes, we'll chant Hare Krishna, and we'll do many activities of devotional service, but they care nothing for the culture of etiquette. And therefore, in due course of time, they have practically no real deep spiritual relationships with anyone. And they're making innumerable offenses to others. And they're not really tasting bhakti or the culture of bhakti because they haven't imbibed it. So culture is very important. Vaishnava etiquette is so important. And even the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Balaram, when he went to Vrindavan, he treated everyone with such love and respect according to their respective positions and relationships with him. Because it was the nature of his love, and because it was also an example for all to follow. They asked him, especially those who were in parental affection, how are you? And how is Krishna? Does he ever remember us? Will he ever come home and tell us all about the residents of the Yadu dynasty who are our dear friends? And we're so happy to hear that Kamsa was killed, and so many other demons who were causing so many problems and sufferings to the innocent devotees. Meanwhile, the gopis, they were smiling at Balaram. Why would they smile? They were very shy. And their supreme lover was Krishna. In fact, they had a special respectful etiquette toward Balaram because he's the older brother of Krishna. But they were so mad, intoxicated by separation from Krishna, they were spontaneously smiling at Balaram. Sometimes in the ecstasy of ecstatic love, etiquette is forgotten. But don't try to imitate that. And they spoke to Balaramji. They wanted to know, is Krishna, how is he in Dwarka? And now he must be very happy with all the beautiful queens of Dwarka. We have heard. And do you know, Balaram, that when Krishna called upon us, we abandoned everything for him. We abandoned our husbands, our mothers, our fathers, our children, our brothers, our sisters, our homes, our wealth, our prestige. We abandoned everything for Krishna. And then Krishna abandoned us. He left us and went to another land to find other associates. Krishna can be happy without us, but we can never, ever, ever be happy without him. They were revealing their hearts. Balaramji then spoke Krishna's messages. In fact, Krishna and Balaram are one and the same person. Balaramji meditated on Krishna, and Krishna appeared within the mind of Balaram, and through Balaram's mouth spoke his messages to the gopis. And they could feel the words of Krishna. Some of the message were very joking and intimate and affectionate. Other messages were very philosophical. Other messages were very dignified. Many messages. And gopis, they felt Krishna's presence so profoundly in the presence and the words of Lord Balaram. Then Balaram wanted to satisfy the residents of Vrindavan, especially his own gopis. And for the next 2 months he performed the Ras Leela on the banks of the Yamuna in a beautiful garden in a place called Sri Ram Ghat. Do you remember? We went there in our yatra. Sri Ram Ghat is quite far away from Krishna's Rasalila place near Bamsi Bhat. And our acharyas explain that the gopis of Krishna were different than the gopis of Balaram that he performed the Ras Leela from. Balarama's gopis They were the girls who were too young to have Ras Lila with Krishna at that time. That is Sridhar Swami's explanation. And Jiva Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they expand that during the holy festival, Krishna and Balaram were playing near Govardhan, and each one had their own group of gopis that they were playing with. Holy night, full moon. And that was the night Shankashuda, the friend of Kuvera, came to steal away the gopis. He had a beautiful jewel on his head. He was very powerful and very handsome and very prestigious person, Shankashuda. But unfortunately, when a person has a lot of wealth, a lot of beauty, high contacts, yes? It's very prestigious to have high contacts. Connections. Can you imagine being an intimate associate of Kuvera? Hare Krishna. He had the beautiful jewel in his head, which later became the Shamantaka jewel. It was beautiful. But the problem is, when we have too much opulence, we become proud. When you're proud, inevitable, unavoidable, you become envious. Envy and pride are like two sides of the same coin. If we're selfishly proud, the other side of that is we're envious of anybody who is obstructing or threatening my position. Whether it be a position of prestige or a position of position or a position of proprietorship. So he wanted to enjoy gopis. He dragged them away. They called out, Krishna, please save us. Krishna entrusted gopis to Balaram's protection. He ran after him and he killed him with a punch, and then took the jewel and entrusted it to Balaram, who later gave it to Srimati Radharani. So Jiva Goswami describes how this is the words of the Bhagavatam to show that Krishna and Balaram had their own gopis. But Krishna's gopis were completely satisfied just knowing that Balaram was having his Ras Lila with his gopis. In this way, Balaramji satisfied everyone. And he performed his Lila every night for 2 months. The months of Madhu and Madhava. One of those nights, Varuna sent his own daughter, Varuni, who was the presiding deity over a beverage called Varuni. And in the forests of Vrindavan, near Sri Ram Ghat, in a beautiful garden near Yamuna, this divine beverage was flowing from a hole of a kadamba tree. It was so sweet and aromatic that it instantly filled the entire forest with this intoxicating fragrance. It was maddening. Balaram and gopis, they smelled it and were very attracted. So they went to that kadamba tree, and Balaram first drank, and then he distributed to gopis, they drank, only to increase the experience of their love. You see, this Varuni that Balaram was getting is very different than the intoxications of this world. I have seen devotees, even my own godbrothers. Sometimes they drink intoxicating beverages, and they use Balaram as the example. Yes, he drank intoxicating beverages. But the difference is the drink that you're drinking is in the mode of ignorance, and the drink that he was drinking is spiritual and divine. It didn't intoxicate people by just messing up their nervous system and doing different things to your brain cells. This intoxication intoxicated one's heart with love of God. Balaram's love for the gopis' love for Balaram. It intoxicated you. It intoxicated your prem, your ecstasy of love. There is no such beverage like that in this world. If there was, certainly we would distribute it to everyone. Wouldn't that be nice? Every Sunday before the kirtan. But you have to be qualified. You have to be an ecstatic prema bhakti to be able to have access to that type of Varuni beverage. So Balaramji was going from forest to forest with gopis, and they were singing and they were dancing, and the Lord's eyes were rolling up in his ecstasies. And he was feeling a great urge to have beautiful pastimes in the waters of Yamuna. So he called Yamuna, please come, come. We want to have our pastimes in your waters, come. But that is not an ordinary request for a river. Usually you go to the river. Even Krishna would go to the river. But Balaram is asking the river, come here. No, Yamuna was seeing Krishna, or Balaram's eyes going around, and she was thinking, how can I take this seriously? So intoxicated. So she didn't come. Only a moment passed, that's all. Balaramji became very much aware. And in transcendental anger, he called out, you wretched river, I have called you and you have not come. Due to your false pride, you have not come. With the tip of my plow, I am going to drag you to where I am, and in doing so, I am going to cut you up into hundreds of little streams. And he took his plow, and immediately, Yamuna Devi, who is an expansion of Kalindi, she came forward with folded hands in the form of a beautiful goddess. She was trembling in reverence toward Balaram. And with a faltering voice, she offered prayers. Oh Balaram, you are the supreme, all-powerful controller of the whole universes. All the planets and universes are being supported and resting on your heads. But I am so ignorant and unfortunate that I do not understand your supreme power. And I have disobeyed you. Please forgive me. Now I surrender to you. I am your servant. And I know you always are affectionate to your devotees. As soon as she surrendered, Balaram was happy. He put down his plow and with the gopis entered into the waters of Yamuna. When he came out, Kanti, an expansion of the goddess of fortune, was waiting with a lotus flower garland that had flowers that never faded, never wilted. They were eternal. You see, Krishna doesn't give us flowers like that because he wants us to make flowers every day for him. Just to give us nice service. And she brought nice dry cloth that was blue as the ocean and wonderful ornaments. The Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadev Goswami explains to us that even today, the river Yamuna has different streams, divisions. Why? Because even 5 millenniums later, the river Yamuna still wants to glorify the supreme opulence of Balaramji. Yes, for those 2 months, Balaram enjoyed all day with the Brijabasis, all night with the Gopis, and those 2 months seemed to pass like one night. This story is so special. Not only is it contained in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, but Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, which is perhaps the first authorized history of Lord Chaitanya's life and teachings. In the very beginning of the first chapter, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur recalls this Leela of Balaram in Vrindavan with his gopis and with the Brijabasis. Why? Because he begins by glorifying Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Vrindavan Das Thakur was the last initiated disciple of Lord Nityananda. And it was Lord Nityananda Prabhu that revealed perfectly the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya within his heart. And it was Lord Nityananda Prabhu that empowered him with the instruction to write this literature that would inspire and enliven all people for all time to come. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami declares Vrindavan Das Thakur to be Vedavyas, the Vyasdev of Lord Chaitanya's Leela. Just as Vedavyas's culmination of all of his life's work was the Srimad Bhagavat, that same Vyas again appeared to write Chaitanya Bhagavat. But to reveal to us the supreme opulence of Nityananda Prabhu's mercy and compassion to the devotees. Balaram's compassion was especially for the devotees. Nityananda Prabhu's compassion is Balaram, who comes to make everyone his devotees. Broke the seal of Vrindavan's Leela to distribute it to the world. Otherwise, it's very difficult to get into Vrindavan. In truth, that real spirit of what is Vrindavan. Anyone can buy a ticket and go to Vrindavan. Anyone can purchase some land in Vrindavan. But who cares? To actually enter into the spirit of Vrindavan is only possible through causeless mercy. Parama Karuna Pahunduijana Nitai Gaurachandra, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, they have extended that mercy and given access into Vrindavan to even the most fallen, undeserving souls. Anyone, everyone, who just accept it with faith and chant the holy name. Tomorrow night, Monday is the day of the moon, yes? Moon day. Tomorrow is Balaram Rasa Yatra. It is the Purnima, the full moon of Lord Sri Balaram's Ras Leela with the gopis in Vrindavan. So we're giving tomorrow's lecture today. And we're inviting you. The pujaris and the temple managers don't know it yet. But I'm publicly informing all of you. No lecture, but there'll be a very beautiful, special evening darshan tomorrow. What time is the evening darshan? It's at 8:45. So at 8:45 there will be a very nice evening darshan celebrating Balaram's Rasa Leela, and you are all invited to come. Without Srila Prabhupada's mercy, what else would you be doing on a Monday night? By His mercy, we understand these wonderful, wonderful festivals. We understand what is the spiritual world, what is love, and how to achieve that love. Yes, Lord Balaram, He has come into this world in this age of Kali Yuga for a very special purpose. He danced with His gopis in Vrindavan. Krishna danced with his gopis in Vrindavan. Gaur-Nitai have come to this world in the age of Kali to invite all of us to dance with Him in Vrindavan. And our acharyas tell us that when devotees with sincere devotion dance in Nam Sankirtan, it is none different than the Rasa Leela of Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada spread Rasa Leela throughout the world, not in a cheap way, but in a real way, when devotees come together in a spirit of servitude and with all humility and sincerity, raise their arms very high and very loudly chant the holy name.